Hello everyone, my name is Ian.
I'm Charlie.
I am Austin.
And welcome back to Is It Worth It? The show where we take a look at an obscure movie and ask ourselves, is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
It is, yes, it is.
No, it's never been.
Not
other than me saying once last time. But
How is it?
Killdozer was worth it. Right, Ian?
Anyway, so this is our 5th episode now.
It is.
Number 5, baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's been that long.
No, it really
That doesn't
doesn't
seem long at all. It seems like it's been longer than that.
It
Really,
has.
you think?
Yeah.
To me, it is. I don't feel like we filmed 5 episodes.
No, it doesn't feel like we feel more like 4.
Feels like that.
Anyway.
For some reason.
So what I was thinking we do this time is, because usually what we do is we take a movie that has fewer than 100 cumulative reviews on IMDb, that's more than 20 years old and that none of us have seen, and we put it on this wheel here, and then we spin it. However, this time I was thinking we'd do something slightly different, wherein instead of putting new movies on, we take the movies that we have already put on the wheel but that didn't get chosen, and we put them on the wheel. So, I was thinking that we would pick from these 16 movies, 8 of them, and put them on the wheel. So which one do you want to put on the wheel?
That one, number 3.
Alright. I'll put on the other 3. Cool, so these are the ones we'll put on. We'll go ahead and tape them on the wheel. It's time for the moment of fate.
It is what time it is. Wow.
It's the time we watch The Savage Bees.
Uh-oh. Please, God, no. I don't know why I picked
It's gonna be
this
one of
one.
my movies.
Oh, it's 3-4-1. So this was on last time and the time before. So this
It's
is...
not one of my movies.
It could be The Savage Bees.
Uh-oh.
It could be one of your movies too.
I don't think it could.
Oh, no.
could
If
be.
we're watching The Savage Bees, I'm leaving. I will not stay. I mean, I'll have to stay, but like...
Alright. Well...
We shouldn't have opted to choose all of the ones
Yeah.
from episode
I didn't
3.
know what the numbers meant while I was picking them.
What did you think they meant?
I don't know. I was confused.
It's one of my movies.
Ah, nice.
Ew, it's called Where the North Begins.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
How long is it?
I know this, it's here, let me focus on this. This one, I believe, is actually fairly short.
Nice.
I believe it's only 73 minutes long or something like that.
All right.
It's from 1923. So
Whoa.
it's a silent movie. There you go.
Excited.
Where the North Begins. Let's get into this.
This is pretty cool, actually. Oh no! Oh my god.
It fell off the back of the car.
No!
No!
Aww. That's so cute.
Oh, that's so adorable.
Oh, the cat's back.
And it's on fire.
The cat is burning!
It's Friends, guys. It's Friends.
No, I'm
Maybe this is just how like housekeeping.
pretty sure this is Alaska, actually.
How can you be totally sure that's snow and not sand?
I mean, maybe it's
ash.
This is Pompeii. It's ash and human bones.
Where the North Begins, 1923. So how does this movie start?
Well,
I forget.
we open on.
It started
Galloway.
with... No, you're wrong. It started with the intro of Rin Tin Tin's backstory.
Ah, yes.
This movie
yes.
starred Rin Tin Tin, by the way.
Rin Tin
It's
Tin.
a dog. Rin Tin Tin.
Yep, so it started off with his backstory about his discovery in World War II, or whatever.
So yeah, I think
Actually, World War
Was
I.
that actually
It would've
the
been-
dog, like the real life story of how they found
I
the
think
dog?
so. That would make sense. And that would actually been World War I.
I'm actually still fully convinced that this is just a Nazi dog and it's like waiting to just kill everybody.
Yeah.
It's a sleeper
It's
cell
World
agent.
War I.
It doesn't change my mind.
Going
This
into
dog's a
World War
sleeper
II.
agent.
Hey,
for the
we didn't get
Germans.
Alaska, and Alaska didn't exist until the 40s. We looked that up.
50s.
51, yeah.
We looked it up and you still
We
got
looked
it
it
wrong.
up.
It was 59. Anyway, so yeah, this film starts with a little intro of Rin Tin Tin. Also, this is a silent film.
Yes.
And it didn't have any music, so we had to provide our own music.
Yeah.
Which,
It wasn't bad. It was pretty
it
good.
worked, you know,
It synced up
it worked
sometimes.
75% of the time. And then sometimes it just was gone. Sometimes.
And then sometimes there were like these weird ambient voices.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you get an ambient soundtrack. Skip this track.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so yeah, after this introduction of Rin Tin Tin,
After we figure out like the backstory, then we get the backstory.
yeah, which is a man.
Dragging a wagon.
Yeah, well, it's a sled.
Dragging a wagon.
It's a sledge. He has a sled dog team.
That's what it is. Yeah.
With a crate with a single puppy in the back.
Tin Tin.
Rin Tin Tin. That's
Rin
right.
Tin Tin.
And so they're going along, and then oh no, the crate falls off the back of the sledge,
Oh no.
and they come across a bunch of wolves. Rather than the sledge leaves him, and some wolves
Or
find Rin Tin
everybody
Tin.
else leaves, and then the wolves
Yeah.
kind of come up around him.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how they got the crate open, but they did with
Kratos.
their hands, their wolf hands.
Kratos, man's of
Kratos, man of hate.
Man's
I mean,
face.
Kratos, man of hate. That's the story of protagonist from the God of War series,
Yes.
Yes.
crossed with Manus, the hands of fate.
Anyways.
But yeah, so the dog grows up among the wolves, and this is about the time that we meet our, I guess our protagonist, other than Rin Tin Tin, of course, who's sort of the protagonist. But yeah, we have Gabrielle Dupart.
Did we get a last name?
We did get a last name at the beginning, but I forgot it. It started with a D. So we get Gabrielle, and we have Felice McTavish. Well, yeah, so there aren't a lot of characters in this.
Mm-mm.
There's Rin Tin Tin,
which I like.
Gabrielle, Felice, Shad Galloway.
Shad.
He's I would say he's
Galloway.
our main antagonist.
He is definitely our main antagonist. And then there's Shad Galloway's housekeeper, who plays a pretty minor role. And then
the Fox? Did we mention the Fox?
and then there's a guy named the Fox who works for Galloway.
And the main cop in
No, yeah,
town?
but that's not till later. There is a
Okay.
sheriff that comes into the film. Oh, and the baby, and then like Gabrielle's housekeeper or something. Anyway, so I think we should start just like outline the basic relationships in this film.
Mhm.
So Gabrielle is this, I guess, French Canadian guy,
Mhm.
and he
Lives
is,
in
I believe, he's the fiance of Felice. We also learned that Shad Galloway wants to marry Felice.
Yeah, we learned that forward.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
we're like 5 minutes into this movie.
yeah, Gabrielle comes back.
We gotta go get
comes back to his home to his wife.
Well, it's not his wife, his fiance.
Fiance, my bad. Comes back home to his fiance after being out on a journey in the wilderness for a while. I don't think it explains exactly what he was doing.
No,
for
he was
hunting
just-
or something like that.
Yeah, trapping.
Anyways, he comes back from this long trip and
He says,
tells her.
I've got a surprise for
Yes.
you.
Lets her know to look into his backpack to find a surprise. And we were all kind of speculating on what this was, shouting out some possibilities.
Like a dead
And I
dog.
believe one of us actually said a baby.
Yeah,
Right before she pulls a baby.
just
on
a baby.
his back.
Like
Just a fully
like
cool baby. Just a baby.
A fully cool baby. I
Fully
mean, I guess
a fully formed.
I guess the baby is very
human
cool
baby.
because they're out in the
And it's
wilderness.
alive. The baby's alive.
Yeah, it's not a
And
dead.
breathing.
It's not a dead baby that they pull
Yes.
up. And we're like, oh, so did this guy just find a baby in the woods? And it's like, no, not really. It was a friend of his, and his friend died.
Yeah.
It's not that important. They have. I think it's just a way for them to have a baby and not be married and still be PC according to the 1920s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at this point that we cut to Shad Galloway, the leader. They said the factor of the trading post, which I guess it just basically just means the owner of the trading
Yeah,
post.
I have to assume something along that line.
Because I don't really know what a factor is. That's probably a.
We can definitely
contemporary,
assume he's some important person.
Yeah, he seems to be like the kind of the lead, like kind of. I'm not going to say the mayor, but he's just sort of like the head honcho of this sort of trading,
For sure, yeah.
trapping community. And we see that he has some sort of intimate relationship with his housekeeper, and that really doesn't come back. It only came in that one scene. I think it's to introduce Shad Galloway as kind of a lecher. He wants to bring some furs over Caribou Pass, but Caribou Pass, no one who's gone there has ever come back. Well, this season at least. And so he's like, I need, and his housekeeper's like, no one's going to go over there because, everyone dies. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I have a way to kill two birds with one stone. And Shad Galloway, by the way, is this really, business guy. He's got this kind of short tie. And so he's like, I'll get Gabrielle to go. Because best case scenario, he gets the furs delivered and he dies along the way. So he's like, Gabrielle, I'll give you $500 if you bring the furs over the pass. And at this point, at this time in history, $500 is probably a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh,
You guys make it bang.
That's probably thousands of dollars to make this trip over the Caribou Pass. And then Gabrielle's like, with this money, I marry Felice. And he kind of talks in this weird sort of disjointed English in the subtitles, and the title card, and the title cards are, what do you call them?
Dialogue cards, title cards.
Yeah, I should know this because I like silent films.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just say at the beginning of this film, there's a lot of title cards, and then later in the film, there's very few.
Which I enjoy. Like I like them kind of just letting us
No, I mean,
figure out what's
it's sort of like the Buster Keaton was always just like, only use the title cards if you absolutely cannot tell what's going on with the action.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which I think in most of these cases, they were setting up the characters. I think most of this is just stuff that we'd like, we need to know this to understand what's
Yeah.
happening. But then later on in the film, there were times where it was sort of like,
Yeah,
I don't really know what they're doing.
I know in the moment, in a lot of those times, like I remember thinking like, I wish I had a title card right here, but then it kind of, the scene grew on me and I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
I see
I'd
why
also say
they
that.
left that out.
So Gabrielle's like, well, I can, with that money, I can marry Felice, and Shad Galloway's just like, what?
Yeah.
And he's just like,
Well, what can I do about that?
Gabrielle must die, but I also need the furs to get over, and I can't just say like, no, actually, never mind, you're not bringing the furs because I've already offered the job. I know, I'll send my hired guy, the Fox, to just kill him with a rifle, which he does, sort of. And I think this is probably the most confusing scene in the film.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Especially
It's a
seeing
lot of
that-
action, and it cuts very quickly
Yeah.
from location to location,
And
the characters are wearing the same clothes.
Yeah.
And they're all dark
Keyboards kind of running
backgrounds.
and like
And it doesn't help that the actual film quality of this, like the version
Yeah,
we
it's
watched,
bad.
is pretty low. Like I'd love to see a version of this from an actual like restored a good copy of this, because I know the print didn't look like this because it's film.
Anyways, Gabrielle embarks on this journey and comes across, and we end up seeing the fox
The
sitting
fox,
in a tree.
the
kinda
fox
waiting
is
for
in
him.
a tree, and he has a rifle.
Uh,
So the fox attacks him, and
Yeah.
Gabrielle ends up falling down a mountainside somehow. I'm still not entirely sure how that worked. But Gabrielle fell down a mountainside. There was a time where I thought there were 3 people there instead of 2. We could figure out what happened
Yeah, we
overall,
got
because
it,
that
though.
title card is like he fell unconscious.
Uh-huh.
And that's when Gabrielle first meets
The dog.
Rin Tin Tin.
Rin Tin Tin.
Rint.
Yeah, so like a blizzard descends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's a
definitely.
blizzard, and
we see him kind of struggling to keep warm.
He kind of crawls into this alcove
Yeah.
sort of
yeah,
thing.
but there's like
And all the
killer wolves around.
timber wolves are coming at him, and they want food.
Yeah.
And then we see
Rin
the
Tin
most
Tin.
brutal dogfight.
Yeah, we still don't know if it was like just kind of staged and
It
like
was-
these 2 dogs were play fighting over the
If
food.
it was staged, that's some of
his
the best
body.
dog acting.
But
maybe
they
the
were
best
like
dog
it
acting
looked
I've
like
seen.
a legitimate dog fight.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's Rin Tin
shocking dog
It's
fight.
Rin Tin Tin
Rin Tin
versus
versus
a
a
wolf fighting for the prey. And let me just say, I think we should at this point mention the location footage for this
Yeah.
movie.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
There's a lot of like really pretty grand landscape shots, and they definitely filmed on location in a
There's
blizzard.
no way this was a soundstage.
In a blizzard with like real dogs, and it's pretty. The scale of it is.
I want to
pretty
know.
incredible.
I want to know. I want to see a documentary on this film.
Yeah, there's some very surprising cinematography throughout
It's
for what this film is.
Very, very good. There's some very great imagery. It's also pretty frightening.
The dogs
would
are
agree,
terrifying
yeah.
in some shots.
I know that some of that was probably aided by the fact that the ambient music that I queued up to watch this with was a little bit creepy.
No,
Yeah.
But
Rin Tin Tin had a real shot at the Oscar.
oh yeah, that was. This was before the Oscars.
Oh, yeah, I
Austin.
forgot.
This is 4 years before the Oscars.
Yeah, we're
the Duskers.
The Dogskers.
Anyways, Rin Tin Tin ends up winning this fight.
Yeah, and then goes up to Gabrielle.
Starts like just viciously
Yeah.
attacking him.
Which exactly.
There's
that.
some like
It
A very
is
terrifying
freaky scene.
It is frightening, especially with the snow, because there's like snow falling and winds
Definitely,
blowing during this whole time. And you see
Uh-huh.
this Gabrielle's face is caked with snow, and Rin Tin Tin's face is
Yeah.
caked in snow, and it looks like this very savage primal scene.
Definitely, yeah.
But then the domestic dog side of
After
Rin Tin Tin over.
The dog realizes I am a slave to humans.
Well, I mean, after
This is my natural
keep in mind,
place.
this is after he viciously bites his leg.
Yeah,
and,
that's
like,
true. He's,
Then we
like,
see him
going
start
at
to
it.
warm up and like feel sorry and start kind of like licking Gabrielle's leg.
Gabrielle and the dog
Where
form
he met him.
a bond. But
Little do we know,
the fox.
the fox is here to fight the Hound.
Well,
He's not here to fight the Hound. He doesn't know
the Fox
Hound's
is
there.
here to make sure that Gabrielle is dead. So
Yes.
this guy isn't a Bond villain who just assumes that Bond has died.
Yeah, no,
He's coming in with a rifle to finish the job. And for a second, we thought he did.
Yeah, because there's
he gets one good shot in on Gabrielle, and Gabrielle like goes down.
Yeah,
and you're like,
he goes
oh,
down hard.
We all really thought that he
Because we
died.
see Rin Tin Tin notice the Fox and just start sprinting at this guy.
Yo, shoot Rin Tin Tin. Oh my god.
Oh!
Was that him getting hit by a bullet?
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
he just got hit!
Rin Tin Tin just wasn't. That's it for our main character. He's done.
And then he starts advancing with the rifle, and Gabrielle, we find out later, just got shot in the leg, I think.
Yeah.
The shot doesn't really seem to affect him very much. He's kind of limping a little bit later, but he seems overall pretty fine for someone who got shot.
Yeah, it's very surprising.
And then
from the shot as well, like we didn't quite know where he got shot either, so it was safe to like we thought he.
I thought he got shot in like the shoulder.
Yeah. And when I was looking at it, I thought he got shot in the chest. And
Yeah, it
that
looked
scary.
like he was dead. We're going really slow through this, basically.
We are.
And then he does then the Fox comes in to finish the job, that he's already finishing.
Yeah.
And Rin Tin Tin attacks him in this really brutal fight
Oh, yeah,
scene.
definitely.
It's like, it's a pretty long fight scene.
It's a
and
really
it's
good
like,
fight scene.
It's really well done. Like the dog is like jumping on his
Yeah, the
back,
dog,
and
like-
and they're playing. They really play with the setting well because they're kind of in like a dip in the ground.
There's like a short rock cliff that's maybe like 10 feet high
Yeah,
or something
Yeah, he-
on the edge of the
he's
valley. And
continuously,
he's trying to get up and Rin Tin Tin. There's a lot of boot chewing.
But eventually,
the
eventually
fox
the fox
gets away.
is able to kick the dog away from him and escape out of the swamp.
But Rin Tin Tin returns with a scrap of the fox's clothing.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
scrap of fox
He
fur.
kind of brings it back to
I do-
Gabrielle, almost like ceremoniously, like here, look what I've brought.
And I do think we should take a moment to appreciate the shot composition in this fight scene, because I think it's
Oh, yeah,
it's shot very well.
all the way
Like a
throughout.
lot of modern fight scenes, you'll see are very close up and lots of quick cuts. You can't really
Yeah.
tell what's going on. But the cuts weren't too fast, but it also didn't linger too long. Like it gave you
Yeah,
enough
yeah.
time to see what was going on, where exactly everyone is in relation to each other. But
There's a great
Yeah.
shot from the top, and the fox is like coming down, but then the
this is right before the attack comes.
Yeah,
it's a
Rin
shot.
Tin Tin
It's an
is there,
overhead
too.
shot of the fox coming in with a rifle to kill Gabrielle, and it's just
Incredible.
it's a great shot. This scene is great, but
Yeah.
we
the
should
scene where
we should go on, and they continue on, and there's a scene. They come to like a fur trapper cabin, and they just have a little bit of a bonding scene.
Yeah,
and
cute.
I think we should talk about the material.
I don't
that
know.
little bit.
There's not. I was just gonna kind of say that there's the scrap of clothing that he got off the fox. He just kind of hides it, and Rin Tin Tin finds it.
Foreshadowing.
yeah, mainly just to set up that he can.
That
find-
Rin Tin Tin really hates this fur.
Yeah,
He will attack it.
and then what happens after?
And
that
then I
scene?
believe
Do they
after
go
that
home?
we cut to I believe Chad Galloway tells Felice that Gabrielle's dead, and then
Yeah.
Gabrielle immediately returns after that scene.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I believe it's actually
She's
the
like,
scene
"Oh,
right
hello."
after that.
And they reunite, and then Galloway goes crazy on the fox
He
because the
does.
fox told Galloway that
Just-
Gabrielle was dead. Yeah,
It kind of opens with like a slap, and we're like, "Oh man, he just."
it was
slapped him.
a double slap.
Yeah, and then he
it's
starts
like
like
a-
punching him.
It's like a closed fist
He
slap. It's
yeah.
like
He punches this guy out.
yeah.
I'm gonna say this is. You see the fox is just like, I thought he was dead. He wasn't. I just went there and I shot him twice, and he fell down the hill, and there was a crazy dog, and it was in the middle of a blizzard, and it was in the middle of winter, and then bam!
Yes.
And this whole time, Chad's just standing there, just
Galloway
like,
does not care. Galloway.
yeah, I was
does
just
not
like,
care at all.
this guy doesn't say much, but he makes a
Oh, yeah.
he's a character.
Another example of some of the talented acting throughout this film as well. I know we've been talking a lot about the cinematography.
That's true, a lot of
and fight
acting
scenes.
is
There's some very good acting throughout this. Yeah.
I mean, because it's really hard to act in silent films because you can't do portray things with your voice. You have to do everything
the
with your
dog actors are incredible.
Exactly.
face. I mean, Rin Tin Tin was the best actor in this.
Yeah, that's true.
But some of the expression that we see from people is just ridiculous all the way throughout this. Just like we were talking about this
Yeah.
scene, you know.
So the housekeeper finds out that Gabrielle's returned, and Galloway's just like, "Oh, I gotta launch an investigation into this, or else suspicion's gonna fall on me." But like, he calls in the police to like investigate like the attack on Gabrielle, because you know,
Oh,
if,
yeah, yeah.
if he didn't call in the police, it would be like, "Oh, the guy in
Yeah.
charge of
He's
this
like, "Oh, no, I have
operation isn't calling in this attempted murder on his man." That
Yeah.
seems suspicious. And then the sheriff shows up, and they're interrogating Gabrielle, and Gabrielle is just like, "Oh, I got this piece of cloth from the guy who attacked me," and Rin Tin Tin just attacks, grabs it. Rin Tin Tin then leaves and attacks the fox who is in the store. And he, like, climbs up on the shelf.
So Gabrielle, like, is like, all right, chill, calm down, dog. And he comes over to the fox and he's like... I don't think we got any title cards.
I'm saying this
scene is
I was
really
going to say,
good
this is the
because
one scene that I think we could have used one title card in.
We could have, but I have to say the actor playing Gabrielle does a good job of kind of showing us him coming to a realization of like, okay, I think this might.
It's sort of a interrogation sort of scene, but then he doesn't have proof, right? It's because it's just what the dog said. At this point, that Galloway says after the Rin Tin Tin attacks the fox, Galloway's just like, you gotta shoot that dog before it kills someone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Foreshadowing.
at this point, with the trap closing in on Galloway, he has to act fast. Galloway sends the fox to plant furs in Gabrielle's hut. These are the furs that...
He's gonna be like,
these are the furs that he was supposed to be transporting over Caribou Pass, and that then went missing because the fox hid them after Gabrielle's disappearance, and Galloway's trying to frame Gabrielle for stealing the furs to get him arrested, I guess.
I mean, no, that's definitely the plan. It's implied. I don't think he explicitly says that, but like, we you know,
because he's gonna have the police search it
for sure.
And then the fox comes, and this is we should say that Rin Tin Tin is jealous of the baby because baby is taking all the attention from him. Rin Tin Tin starts tearing up. I think it's the baby's doll.
Rin Tin Tin is jealous of the baby,
and there's just a title card that just says jealousy.
Jealousy.
So it's kind of like tearing up some of the
Rin Tin Tin starts like attacking the baby's doll, and the maid is like, get outside, get outside.
Puts Rin Tin Tin outside.
And she sends him out.
And she's like washing the baby. She's giving the baby a bath. And at this point, the fox comes in. It's kind of funny because the fox is coming in all stealthy with the furs.
Yeah.
And then
the housekeeper just kind of walks around the corner
and just like
notices him.
It reminds me of the scene from Evil Heritage when Steven is dragging the dead body. And then this lady just opens the door and just like makes awkward eye contact with him.
Hello there, what you doing?
He waits like a second and then just starts like
the maid tries to get outside to like tell people that like the fox is planting furs around. And then
he kind of stops her.
And the fox is I think the fox is beating her. It's a struggle, but I think the fox.
The dog is trying to get in, and he's like,
but the door's locked.
Yeah, the door's locked. And he's like looking in, and there's like a hatch. Not a hatch, like a hole in the roof.
Yeah,
a ventilation hole or something.
It's like
and the dog
it's a good like 15 feet up this
and the dog
sheer stone
like,
wall,
running up the wall and like almost making it. You're like, oh shoot, he's gonna make it, and
he
does.
Like, how ridiculous it is for the dog actor of Rin Tin Tin to be doing that. Like
that was incredible.
I mean, Rin Tin Tin was a great actor.
Yeah.
But then Rin Tin Tin gets in the hole
and then
like
just
a ventilation shaft,
jumps down onto the fox,
and just
jumps
like
just
attacks
dives
the fox,
and
it just savages this guy. They're knocking over tables.
And then
the maid picks up the baby and runs out.
Later,
Gabrielle
returns, and so it's just Gabrielle actually. And Gabrielle sees like everything. He sees the dog all bloody.
The dog's
sees the torn up baby toy. Goes into another room and sees the torn up piece of like bloody baby clothing that I guess
he assumes that the baby killed the baby killed the dog.
Oh, you dumb baby.
We assume that the baby attacked the dog and then ran out the door.
No, wait. I know we're trying to go quickly here, but I have to ask this: if the irony of him going into the room was, oh no, the baby killed the dog, would he then have like whipped the baby? This is the way that he ends up whipping the dog.
Yeah, honestly, this is probably my favorite scene in the whole film. Or actually, I don't want to go that far because there's a lot of really good scenes in this.
The irony,
but for acting,
and like
there's a lot of dramatic irony. There's some very good dramatic irony in that Gabrielle returns and thinks that the dog, killed the baby.
Yeah,
and he is just silent fury.
Yeah.
Not just because it's a silent film, but just because he's just standing here, just like.
Mm-hmm.
And we think he's gonna grab a rifle, but he grabs a whip.
They do kind of like oddly center. They make sure to focus on the rifle, almost like he's like contemplating just getting the rifle.
Yeah.
But then we see him reach.
And it was somehow worse.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean for sure.
Yeah.
And just starts whipping the dog. And at that moment, the sheriff and his men come in.
And then, so that the police and everybody comes in, and then they start like searching his house.
Galloway's just like, I told you should have shot that dog. Now it's killed someone. The pain has come home.
Then
they
grabs a gun.
And then Gabrielle's just like, no. No one kills this dog but me.
Yeah.
Takes the gun.
It's so suspenseful.
Yeah,
and starts going down. Just at the last moment before Gabrielle shoots Rin Tin Tin, Felice bursts in. He's just like, the baby's all right. Don't worry. And then they're just like, oh, But we still found the furs in your room.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, while this is happening, we get some shots of like the dog just kind of sneaking out.
Yeah,
like,
the dog like arm
very
crawls
close
out
to
into
the
woods.
ground, like.
And then this is when they find the fox, I assume dying, and he's like, "Yes, Galloway hired me to kill Gabrielle on the mountain, and I did. And but I thought I did, but I failed. And then he had me plant furs in his room, and then Galloway's just like, well, I suppose I've been busted."
Does the Nixon
It
hand
wasn't
signs.
for you meddling kids and that dog.
And that damn baby.
Yeah, and then Gabrielle and Felice go out after the dog, and
And the dog's like, no, I
the
don't
dog
want to.
initially is very reluctant, but then eventually they make up.
Uh-huh.
And then at this point we have Galloway being led at gunpoint back into his office,
Yep.
and I'll say this is I really liked this scene.
Yeah, no, it was
This
great.
was a great
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
So other than the fact that all the snow from earlier
Yeah,
seems
no.
to have melted,
All gone.
all the snow is gone.
But Gabrielle
gone.
goes into his, or not Gabrielle,
Shad.
Shad
Galloway.
goes into his office, and he's like,
I assume
told
getting
to
like
get,
a bank
money.
note or something.
Yeah,
I
or
think it's
something.
like some proof or
And
something.
then he comes
like a
out
receipt.
and he just punches
Yeah,
the cop
just
in the
full
face.
on
just
Just
socks the punch.
And then locks his
Socks
door
the
and runs
police.
out his other door and gets on a horse, and you're like, oh, horse race time.
A horse chase. Galloway's riding along, and I don't know how they got this shot actually of him on
Yeah,
this
no,
horse.
that was incredible.
With a 20s camera, how did they do that?
Yeah, that was really cool. I'm pretty sure.
And then Felice and Gabrielle are both in the woods because they're looking
Yeah,
for the dog.
yeah, yeah.
And then Galloway
And
just goes by and scoops up
scoops
Felice.
Felice up. Like, she's like, okay, cool.
And then Gabrielle starts chasing her with Rin Tin Tin.
Uh-huh.
And Gabrielle, I think, jumps on the horse and is
Tried
dragged
to jump
along
on the
for a
horse
while.
and, like, got hurt and just kind of lays there.
And yeah, Rin Tin Tin like climbs down the mountainside and jumps a river
Oh,
and
yeah,
goes
I
through
remember
this and to get around in front of Galloway and then jumps on him as he passes by, like jumps off a ridge and knocks him off his horse and Rin Tin Tin is like got him by the throat and starts like
And
wrestling
he
him
kind
over
of like
towards
pull,
the
he
edge
kind
of
of
the
pulls
cliff.
him off the horse.
And
as
they're
well.
on the edge of this really impressive cliff set. And this is so suspenseful.
Yeah, very tense, very suspenseful. Like
We think that we don't know if Galloway's going to throw Rin Tin Tin over the edge of this cliff
Yeah,
or
no,
not.
either one of them could have died here. You know, the stakes were obviously very high.
But
and it
of
was
course,
done really well.
Galloway ends up falling off the cliff.
Yeah,
And
Of course.
And then we cut back to the home.
presumed dead.
Where Felice and Gabrielle, I assume, are now married and they're living happily, but they're like, the dog never returned after saving my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dog returns with a bunch of little
After
babies
saving her life.
and a female dog. And it's not really explained where this comes from, and it's kind of a weird ending.
It is kind of.
It's
odd
like
ending,
the
isn't it?
ending of like an Air Bud film.
Yeah.
like we said. But fine, it's fine. And then the movie's over.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the ending doesn't,
It doesn't drag out.
Yeah.
It's fine.
All right. Do
It
we
doesn't
want to
take
rate
away
this
from the
thing?
movie. Yeah, so I think we should get right into this because you have to be heading out of here soon.
Mhm.
Well,
So Charlie, if a person came up to you on the street
Yeah.
and came up to you and just said, "Is it worth it for me to watch Where the North Begins?" What would you say?
I would say absolutely. I think this was the first movie we've watched that really was worth it, and I'm like,
Legitimately good.
it was pretty amazing, especially for the time. It really gave me a new respect for not just. I've already had a pretty good respect for silent films, but like a new respect for just 20s
for sure.
filmmaking. I didn't realize how like
It looks like this was made.
advanced a lot of it.
It
is.
looks like this was made in the 60s.
and I think if you
It
have-
does. It was really quite amazing.
If somebody is asking you this question, is this film worth it? If this is a person with any interest in film and any appreciation of good film and good cinematography,
Yeah, this-
then they can take something away from
This isn't like Evil Heritage, where it's just like if you like this specific genre of grindhouse
Yeah, for
film,
sure.
you'll enjoy this. This is something like I would recommend this to anyone.
Yeah.
Like if someone maybe hasn't watched many silent films or is kind of like iffy about it, because I know most people are going to be like, silent films, that's from the
At least
20s,
like the
it's going to be hard to watch. This is an incredible movie to start them out
It's
with.
very tense.
Get some music
The
playing. before you
acting
start
is very
watching.
modern, I'll say. Especially with Gabrielle, there's so much
Oh, yeah,
subtlety.
this is very good.
Like the scene where Gabrielle holds Shad at gunpoint
Yeah.
after he finds out that he tried to kill him.
Mhm.
That's a great scene.
So just to clarify, we're all in agreement.
yeah, I'll
this is
say
definitely worth it.
absolutely.
Worth it. Worth it.
Worth it. Yes.
This is the first ever fully worth it, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we disputed our other film, but this one is definitely unanimous.
It's a great film, great atmosphere, great fight scenes, great cinematography, great sets.
All around.
It's a really impressive movie. It's a really, really good movie.
And
so
there's not really there's little to no negatives about this movie that I can genuinely think about to take away from it. No, I'm really glad we watched this today. I'm glad you wrote this down on that little sheet of paper.
Yeah, I'm glad that we could have gotten the Savage Bees, but we got Where the North Begins.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did.
I've been Ian.
I've been Charlie.
And I've been Austin.
And this has been Is It Worth It? Yes! For once, yes!
Finally.
Finally, yes!
Yes.
It's finally...
Oh, rub my belly. Oh.
What? Psych? Gotcha.